So in today's video, I'm doing some of my salvage pieces that have been laying around my stash area and sharing with you the process of how I'm going to make these into beautiful home decor. So I have this old frame and I actually tried to sell it in my retail booth as is, but nobody wanted it. It's beautiful. I love the shape of it. I love the detail. And some people can't, unfortunately, look past the brokenness of it, of just the character and charm I think it adds to it. I never mind a broken up, chipped up frame. So my idea for this, frame is to fit this horse inside. Well, he can't just be flying. He's not a flying horse. He's not a Pegasus. I guess that he needs wings. So I'm going to figure out how to back it, but I can't insert like wood here or wood here around the lip or he won't fit. So I have to come up with something else. So yes, there's a lip here, so I can't, I mean, if I want him to sit in here, he barely fit, y'all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back the entire frame. So the entire frame is going to be back. Take some pallet wood and cut it down to size. So it looks like I needed a bigger piece. Okay, I'm going to lay my boards down and then I'm going to make a cut where I know I need to cut them. So I'm going to do DIY's little black dress on the horse. Do the sides first. So this is just something I picked up on my travels. We did not take a template. I like the oddity of, or the uniqueness, I guess, of original, like not trying to mass produce. If you can, I mean, we kind of do similar things because we use similar products and similar colors, but you know, that's the fun of like thrifting, is you're always finding something a little bit different and then you get to create with it. And it might be like on the same, like, you know, it might be on the same as like you've done similar, but it's going to turn out different because it's different items and it's different products, or you changed what you used or how you did it. So now I'm just going to dry it with the heat gun to get the second coat on. Putting on my second coat, this is just a mister bottle of water, and I'm just going to mist it down. Since DIY paint is a clay-based paint, if you go to put your second coat on, sometimes it's so dry that it's just going to start to take the paint off because it can be sanded or wet distressed. I'm going to go ahead and seal my black paint in before distressing anything, just with some polyacrylic. Now there's enough pieces and parts here. I could like make it whole and like do a mold, but I'm not going to. I want to make it look old. I want to make it look like a salvaged piece, and if I fix it, make it pristine, then it doesn't look like a salvaged piece. So I'm going to use White Swan to paint the frame up. Other than cleaning it, that's pretty much all I did. I think White Swan should be sticking to this. Got a lot of little details to get in there. And normally you all would have seen me do like flour sack, but I'm down to bare minimal of flour sack and I want to use it on the bunny window. And anyway, so I'm going to show you how to get kind of the same aged using the patinas instead of having it be chippy and all that and crackled. We are just going to paint it one solid color, and then we're going to add patinas to add the age to it. So I'm going to get the heat gun to help me dry it. So I'm going to go ahead and mist, get that second coat on. Like I said, if you don't mist it or wet your brush or something, the chances are it'll start trying to take your paint off. But that first coat definitely attracts that second coat. I think I'm only going to need 2 coats for this. And I have some like staining bleed through happening, but because I'm going to be doing patinas, I'm not going to worry about it. And maybe the second coat will cover it up. Like the brass little frame is, I can kind of see some yellow, and where there was raw wood where the molding came off, it's doing a little bit of yellow, but so either the second coat will cover that up or the patina will blend it in. Okay, so we're going to let the fun begin. So I'm going to start off with some of the Fusion's clear wax, and I'm just going to kind of brush it on, getting it into those places. And then I have some grit by Sweet Pickins. I'll just take the lid off and then I'll dust on here. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and start dusting my paint. I did not seal this paint in with any polyacrylic or anything like that. So if it rubs off anywhere while I'm working on that, that is okay. So I'm just looking for it to hit. Look at how it just hits those details with that wax. So the wax is a sealer, y'all. So it will seal your paint in also. So it's just a different way to add age to your piece. So there again, just some, you gotta work in sections because your wax is going to start to dry. So I don't want to put it on the whole piece, but I am rubbing it. Like you can see, I'm doing little swirls to get it in to where it needs to be to seal that DIY paint in. And then I'll put my little fan brush right in the grit. And then I'll just very gingerly go over my piece. Nice thing about doing it on a plate, you can dump it back in. And now I am going to go in with some decrepit dust, y'all. It's back in stock, and there's two different ones. Yay! So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over a little bit more because I want to make this look like it's been outside, it's been in the weather. So we're not pushing it in, we're just lightly. So it's going to just give different hues, and those hues are going to play off each other. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and give this some age by sanding it. Okay, so I'm going to start. See, I don't know if my horse will fit in here after I get the pallet wood on. So I want to make sure he's in there before I start putting the pallet wood on. I need to paint the sides of the pallet wood to blend it in with the frame. So I want to get that paint going. Big piece in the middle. On the edge. Tight bond, quick and thick, and then some brad nails. Okay, so he has to go a long way. And then I have to wipe that glue off. Glue, but there I go. There I'm touching it with glue. Dry pallet wood, so that's okay. I'm going to put a couple brads in, small, short brads. So even with the short brads, it kind of came through, so I'm snipping off the end, and then I'm just hammering it in so I don't feel it. We don't want to ruin anybody's wall. Okay, so I'm going to do library. Oops, I want it to be capital though. You know, to do with stables. And then I need to go in and find a font that I no, not that one for sure. There you go. Just a simple font. And then I just need to go in and unlock. And I can do a 9x3. So let's get it to the 9 first, which I know I could punch in numbers, but I've got two hands going here, one holding a phone to film and one going up. Okay, so let's see. Because sometimes just because you can make that size doesn't mean it's going to look right. It may look a little wonky. I don't think it looks wonky. I think it'll be fine. Okay, I'm going to start weeding. Just an easy, simple font, nothing too overly fancy, just so when you stencil them on, you can see what it says. Get cut out pretty close to my wording. Now I just have a piece of transfer tape. Now somebody made a statement about their they couldn't get their vinyl off. You can condition your transfer tape. There's always dust around, y'all. So just sticking it down on a surface a little bit makes it not as sticky, if that helps you all. I'm just going to try to find it as best as I can to be not as sticky. Wow. So now I'm just going to, I got it just to fit in this spot because I cut my stencil out so close to my lettering. I'm just going to add a little bit of tape. I do that because it's just easier for me to try to center it. Since coal blacked on here first to seal the edges in, just during a swirling technique. Just a little bit of paint on the brush, not very much. Now that I have the black on to seal the edges, I'm going back in with some picket fence and a makeup sponge. And we're going to do the white so now you can see the lettering. The black is, as I said, is just to seal the edges of the stencil window so it doesn't bleed under, hopefully. And now we're going to put a hanging system. Same thing. These always seem to work just fine. 17 gauge wire. Clamp it so it's nice and tight, and then twist it. So my son showed up from a estate sale one day with these pair of legs. I'm like, those are way cool. Look at the little feety legs, feet. And asked if I could crate with them. I don't know if they were off a little footstool, what they were off of, but I can envision making it into a little decor riser to rise something up, centerpiece. So I'm going to be using some 80 grit to get that extra wood off of there. That'll make it uneven. So I know it would be better to make it like this, that it would go across all the boards, but I don't want to make that big a riser. That's just a little too big. So what I did was I cut the pallet wood just a little bit larger, kind of like that. But I do need to make some connections. I like this color of pallet wood. This is how it came. I do need to make some type of a connection through here. I don't want to make it too awful thick, so I think I'm just going to use some paint sticks. But that would be so obvious, so obvious. So what I'm going to do is set these off to the side. I have my weird mixture of Waverly wax and ink chalk paint, the Waverly Antiquing Wax, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick it in there, stir whatever's in the bottom of this container that's been resting, and I'm just going to let them soak in some of that antiquing concoction. And I don't necessarily want the people to know that, hey, these were probably legs to a footstool, so I'm going to see if I can get these little sliders off. Okay. There you go. I can't put them underneath, because if I put them underneath, then they would, of course, be in the way. So pretty easy to cut. I'm just going to raise them up a little bit, and then I'm just going to take my Japanese saw, and then we're just going to saw through them. And then I'll just take the sand. To paint my legs, I'm going to go with a yummy green. I think that'll look great with that salvaged wood, and it's DIY's Aviary. Yes, these, I mean, somebody re-glued them, and I know somebody's like, leave them natural, but I like the wood in paint texture, you know, visually, so that is what we're going to do. But we can distress and get back down and show some of the wood so it has a little bit of an aged look. But I want to get all my elements painted before attaching everything together. Yet again, you can dry DIY's paint. One of the reasons I love it, I love the colors, but it also helps you get a project done and you don't have to wait impatiently for paint to dry. So I'm going to take a mister bottle, mist it down to get that second coat on. The first coat will really attract that second coat, so it should just glide right on. DIY paint, if you want to distress it, you can sand it, you can wet distress it, which, because these are round legs, I'm going to go ahead and just use a wet wipe. And then I'm just going to, and it does not take much to distress, y'all, so I'm just going to go around where some of that detail is. But yep, see how it starts to take that off? If you get too much off, you can just put more back on. To finish these legs up, I'm going to seal them in with some Fusion's aging wax. Going to get a brush to kind of get into those details there. Now this is really going to bring out the true color. It's not going to be as light as it looks when it's like this. Amazing color. So wipe on, wipe off. If it distresses it more, I don't care. But yes, look at the difference. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to center it on this board, and then this board, and then make sure that I left enough space for my little boards that I cut out. And I'm going to drill, since there's already holes here, I'm going to go ahead and drill these into these boards, and they will be good and on there. Now I'm going to put a little glue on these. This is just some Titebond Quick and Thick. And then I'm going to staple these in place. Did add a few more of those to the back. I just wanted to make sure that that middle piece was on there nice and tight. So I think structurally that should help. I think it's together, but I don't trust it. I don't completely trust it. So I have some rusty, crusty salvaged metal, and I'm just going to find the pieces that I like, and I'm going to staple it, and then I will wrap it around just a wee bit. I think it'll be really pretty. Go with the salvage vibe it's got going on there. Based on these staples just to kind of age them a little bit. So I do need that same aging con to go on the edges of these, because where I made those fresh cuts, you can see that. Doesn't hurt to go over the other. Spraying some weather defense, just a clear coat to soak in the metal, to soak into the wood. I didn't want to like do a wax because I didn't want it to do a white like filmy over it. And polyacrylic, I was just looking for something to absorb into the wood to protect if anything ever spills on it. So now I have a raised feeling from spraying the clear coat on there, so I'm just going to take some steel wool and then we're just going to rub it back and forth, see how it really, it changed the color a little bit, but at least it's sealing it in. It just really is pretty. I definitely have a thing for old windows. I love finding these old wooden windows. I think this is a great size. And when I saw it, I'm like, I have a pair of decoupage that would be perfect to put in, though it's not going to fit, so I'm going to have to do a little work to it, to the windows themselves. But we're going to repaint this. We're going to put some decoupage. So yes, we're bringing the bunnies back, but as you see, that doesn't fit at all. So that's where that mirror effect comes in play. So I want to get my mirror effect done before painting this. Okay, we need to cut this in half though. Yeah, nope, it's not. It's not a completely half kind of subject there. So I'll just try to eyeball where my half is. I need to go ahead and put them underneath something that fits it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trace. This is my front. It doesn't have to be a perfect trace job. I just need an idea of where that oval of the bunny, oops, that was a little too big, where the oval of the bunny is. Okay, so now my Sharpie mark is on the front. We are going to flip this over, and I need to clean my glass. Before applying the mirror effect, I want to make sure that everything is pretty much clean. Ooh, a little dirty, isn't it? Spray bottle, just a mister bottle. I have distilled vinegar, straight, no dilution whatsoever. And then my mirror effect of choice is the Rust-Oleum. It's smelly, so you want to be ventilated. We luckily in our shop have a ventilation system. Mask on. But what we're going to do is I'm going to mist the distilled vinegar around these edges. And I'm going to have to kind of cover half at a time because I'm working on a double piece here. And then where the water droplets of the distilled vinegar are, or vinegar droplets, then I'm going to go over them with the mirror effect. And yes, you can dry. For whatever reason, it doesn't dry the vinegar, but it does dry the mirror effect. We're going to take a lint-free, just a shop cloth, and we're going to dab it. All those little water vinegar droplets off. Okay, now I want to make some jagged edge. I don't want to keep a straight cut on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just dabbing it in a little bit of water. And this is a little bit thicker of paper. I'm going to try to keep it off the frame, but it'll be all right. Put the right end in would help, right? That kind of just flattens out that very strong, thick edge. Okay, now I want to make sure my two little guys are looking at each other, so I need to flip-flop that. And then I'm going to be using some decoupage transfer gel by Fusion to adhere them. And I will tell you, I have good luck kind of blending where I put the paper if I actually put the transfer gel on the entire piece of glass. Even though I did the mirror effect and I have a couple different colors I'm going to add to it, this dries clear. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get it into the circle. Before doing too much, I want to make sure it's in my circle, which it is. Which it is. So now I'm going to take a mister bottle, just water. And then I'll go ahead and rub that paper down. I'm trying to stay off the glass where I put the adhesive. Just making sure that this piece of paper of decoupage is down. And then even though I rubbed it down with the saran wrap, I want to make sure that it's there. So I'm just going to very gingerly take the brayer, not going off the paper, and make sure that the image is there. So one last thing that I want to do before I paint the other side of the frame is I'm going to spray black around this area to kind of blend that in so you don't see it as much, is the hope. So I cut down a piece of Dollar Tree poster board, one to back the bunnies so the bunny picture pops a little bit more. And then to protect that from when I'm painting it, so I'm just going to attach it in. Framing tool from Amazon, one of my better investments of something I use a lot. So the back color of the bunny's grass kind of matches artichoke. So I want to do a chippy frame. So I want to layer different coats of colors of paint. So it's already got the cream. So I think that the artichoke would be a nice middle color. So if you've not used Sweet Pickins milk paint, it's a powder paint that you mix with equal parts water, and it's just tap water, nothing special, just at room temperature. I just keep it in a bottle for convenience of using. And then you go ahead and you stir it, incorporating all that powder in with the water, about 2 minutes, making sure you're scraping the bottom and the sides so you get it all incorporated. But do it for about 2 minutes so you know that it's incorporated, and then sit it off to the side and let it thicken up a little. Okay, so I'm going to be using some of the Sweet Pickins beeswax to help with my chippiness, and you got to be careful because it works really well. So I'm just going to lightly run it over just once. I've learned my lesson not to run it over more than twice. Like you can feel it, not like candle wax at all. Any candle wax I've ever done. And then just start painting. I didn't really prep it with any, like I didn't spray shellac or anything. I didn't, other than wiping it down, cleaning it off with Dawn dish soap. I just kind of left it as it is. I want you to be able to see that cream underneath. And then for my final coat, I'll be using flour sack. And this is my last. I'm waiting for my order to come in. So I kind of just poured out what I had in a cup, equal parts water. We're going to go move on to the white, but first I have to do another layer of beeswax. White a stir because it's been sitting a while, waiting to be used. Okay, so now I'm going to do another coat and I'm going to put another layer of the wax on. And I think this coat should be the final coat. We've got some crackle. I'm going to take the sander to it and see what chips off. Okay, so I'm going to get this sealed in with some polyacrylic clear matte. And we'll just get the paint off the window. It's pretty easy, just scraping tool. Sometimes I don't know why I tape off. I still always have to scrape, but that's okay. Okay, time to put a backing on it. So some double stick tape along the edges. And you can't see how much of a hot mess this might be. Use some contractor's paper to cover up the back. That'll stick to that double stick tape. And then sandpaper to cut it nice and close to the edge. Spritz it with some water and that'll help tighten that back up and give it a little bit of age. Make it look like it's been on there for a while. Just some eye hooks so I know that I'm even. And then we'll twist it so it's nice and tight. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Yes, just taking some of the salvage pieces and parts, putting them together and creating something out of it. I hope I have entertained you. I hope I have inspired you. And I hope you're out there doing DIYs and crafting. Thanks again for watching. We will see you next time and you can see what I'm up to. Bye.